Welcome to Rainbow Soul Podcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Hello! Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here. Glad you're tuning in. Hi, Regina. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed.
Right? I'm trying to help you all kick off your week, right? Like, this is where we want to be. This is what we want to do. We want to check in on our astrology. Because, I don't know, knowing what's going on in the sky. And so funny. I know what's going on in the sky, and I'm sitting there trying to figure something out today, and then I'm like, duh, Venus is in retrograde. That's what's happening, YouTube.
What are those?
Oh man.
We've been talking about it, but it was like we hadn't put together what was in this hand with what was in this hand. It was like, oh my God!
So it's just kind of a thing. Sometimes you may but yeah, so I'm glad. First one of the month. Yes, Regina, it is the first one for March. That is true. Yeah, and March is the coming like 3 months or something is going to be.
Yeah, man, this
April,
year
May,
this
June,
year is just
July.
so intense. And
Yeah.
and the markers and the comparative history when you listen to mundane astrologers comparing what some of what's going on in 2025 is like never been seen, period. And then some of it's getting compared to times of tremendous revolution. Like, oh my God.
Yep.
So you can't make this stuff up, it's literally in the stars. And frankly, I don't know how anyone lives without knowing what's going on. It's like knowing the weather. To me, the astrological weather is just as important as the weather forecast, knowing how to prepare for your day, so to speak, it really helps. It really, really helps. And I can't tell you how many times we've compared notes when there's a day where the energy feels, I don't want to say off, but different, not typical. Something's going on, and we'll consult the charts and be like, oh. So
I was looking at the charts to review and get a vibe for today's broadcast, and then I was like, Bright Hawk, Venus is retrograde. That's what's happening right now. And
yeah. Yeah. So what does that mean with Venus being retrograde? So Venus is...
Well, we'll probably talk about that most of the broadcast, right?
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah, so we'll visit that most of the broadcast. And right now, I just thought that maybe we gather and take a minute to have a few deep breaths, and maybe we just do a little guided meditation. I think we'll do it about Venus, so we can understand her, Venus. So take this minute, kind of center yourself if you can. Get yourself grounded. Feel yourself centered. Just feel your seat under you, your feet. Just relax and maybe blow out any tension from the day. you release that tension, release that stress. Imagine yourself underneath of the dark sky with beautiful stars going as far as they can go. They seem to go on forever. And there's this glowing light that kind of looks like a star, but it's not twinkling, it's just glowing really strong. It's kind of that light orange, almost pink color. And as it comes out of the sky to speak to you, this is the planet Venus. And as Venus is spinning forward, she shows you, she helps you express your love. You feel your love in your heart. And Venus helps you stay connected to the love in your life, to the people and the things and the places that you love. Feeling that love in your heart and in your soul. And Venus begins to slow down, slowing down, reminding you of the money that you've spent. And as Venus begins to turn the other way, we're asked to visit. How do we make our money? How do we spend our money? What is important to spend our money on? What do we love? Where are our values? Who do we love? And our love pours out from deep within, helping us to review and revisit what we love. And to check in on that love. Are we expressing our love in fullness and completely? And that is the fullness of love in all the things and places, stuff and people that you love. How does that fit into your life? How do you love yourself? And as you reflect on yourself, reflect on your love for yourself, what do you allow? What kind of behaviors do you allow of other people? How does love serve you? And as Venus pulls itself back into the sky, asking us to review our love stories, we are left with that feeling of learning to love ourselves. our bodies. Maybe we touch our legs, our knees, and help us feel our body. Help us feel our feet on the floor, our bottom in the seat. And gently release, open our eyes, come into our body fully in ourselves. Well done. Well done, Bright Hawk.
Well, thank you, Hollis.
And Missy Berger also said
Aw.
she was over in the Mystical Connections group, and she says, beautiful music, Bright Hawk.
Thanks.
And all right, so everyone, I know that you guys, how's your week going so far? How's things going? How's this? Have you felt the Venus retrograde? What in your relationships or money? Is there something strained?
And I keep telling you guys about the void of course moon. So there was one this morning, and it finished at about 10:30, 11-ish our time in Mountain Time. Did you notice this morning? Was it a mellow morning? For me, I would say it was really hard for me to get focused. So I went for a walk with the dog, and then when I came back, I got the astrology deck done like wicked quick. But prior to that, I was just all over the map and totally not getting it done. So that's what I noticed. And I'd be curious if you noticed, did you have a mellow morning? Did you have gosh, why can't I get my engine started? What was your morning like? Was it mellow? Was it easy? Were the people that you were dealing with easier to deal with? Was there less drama? Or
mostly, although I think Rowan had the same problem you did.
Couldn't quite get the mojo moving.
Yeah, he was kept trying. Yeah, that's my grandson. So he kept trying, but he did good. But he definitely struggled a little bit. And I'm wondering if that's the void moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He and I have the same. It's his chart and my chart.
Apparently,
so weird when that happens. So we've mentioned before that our grandson Rowan, he and I have a alarmingly similar chart. I'm as what I called myself a Sagicorn. He's a Capricorn. We're both Virgo rising. We're both Leo moons. He's the only person I've ever met that's very close. I've had lots of people have one of your three, right? But rarely have I ever seen where we have our.
And he has a yod going in the same house, in the same direction. It's totally
so our
weird.
houses are the same because obviously, and Dahlia, who is also a Virgo rising, but but where my Virgo rising is and where hers is, all the houses are off by about one. Yeah. But mostly Rowan and I have the same. It's oh my God, this child's a little strange.
It's a little strange.
This child will teach me for sure. Okay. And often I'm the one who has an insight about he's super sensitive. Mm-hmm. Remember, he's super sensitive. Really needs encouragement. Will grow a mile with proper watering, so to speak. And that's another thing about astrology where, again, parenting is hard.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And I don't know how parents do it without knowing their astrology chart and their child's astrology chart and how it all swings. It speaks so much to, oh, okay, don't approach this child this way because, they're gonna no will be the answer to everything, right? Lovely. But if you understand their chart and you understand, oh, so, okay, this is one of those times where they need to think that they're the ones initiating this.
Right.
So how do we support their understanding so they think it's a great idea?
Right.
And then we all come along with like, wow, that's totally great idea.
Beautiful. Awesome. Yeah. Hi, Makwa. It's great to see
Great. Hi there.
Glad you're here, Makwa.
Wonderful.
And Crystal said she loves your music.
Aw, thanks so much. I appreciate you.
And Makwa said that this morning we had an earthquake. Now, I didn't feel it.
Oh.
I'm doing much better today than I have been. So much less drama. My house has been nuts. So it might be because either you guys have Aries placements, since that's where Venus is, and it's going backwards, or maybe it's
I also
the Mars.
think about Pluto, because Pluto's the underworld. All things underground, mining, everything like that. And Pluto's in Aquarius, right?
Yeah.
The land of surprises, ruled by Uranus, the most surprising planet. Surprise them in it.
But they probably won't feel that unless it comes into a direct conversation with some planet in their chart.
Okay.
Yeah. Bianca.
Wow.
Bianca has been exhausted for weeks. That's probably the Mars retrograde there. You're probably going to start feeling better here soon. Hi, Kathleen.
Well, hopefully it feels like somebody took a sandbag off the throttle where you're like, why does it feel like I'm dragging sandbags? And hopefully now it starts to feel like the sand is drained right out of those bags. And you're like, wow, I got so much done today.
Regina said that this morning that nothing seemed to be going right until after 12:30 Central Time. And then things started to go right and smoothly.
Which would be exactly when it ended. So that's why I pointed out. Because when weird stuff's happening, sometimes it's in a void where you're like, why is nothing gelling? Why is nothing
I sometimes have a hard time getting things done in a void moon.
And I've tried to explain before, it's that void moment when the moon leaves one sign and goes into something else. And this week, the voids are very short. Like this morning's the longest one. It started last night, I think at like 11:30 or something. Oh, wow. And I had a terrible night's sleep. Not terrible. Let me rephrase that.
Short.
I slept really well until about 2:30 in the morning. And then I was
wide awake.
Then that was it. Then it just never quite went back to sleep. So 4.5 hours doesn't really feel like enough, but I'm okay. As we get older, sometimes you have less sleep and deal with it. It's just not that big of a deal.
Yep.
I guess it's the deal you make of it.
I guess. Yeah, that's what.
And this is when I'm super grateful that we work for ourselves. I don't have to show up for somebody else and be something I'm not ready to be.
That's what that woman said in the book about living a good life. The author of that book, the holistic 102-year-old holistic
herbalist and medical doctor.
Yeah. So she was saying that as you get older and you have a hard time.
Chelsea said the same thing. They couldn't sleep either. Wow.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Hi, Bianca and Renee. Welcome. And then my Sag daughter lost her mind for a bit, but she's on track now. Okay. Yeah, but it could be some other placement in her chart other than the Sag. Oh goodness.
As a Sag, all I could do is go, yep, sometimes we blow, man, like a little volcano. But what Hollis always reminds me of, and I really embrace the brevity of it, and wisdom did not arrive until my later years, thank you, Hollis, is that with a Sag, with a fiery person, stay out of their way, and they usually run out like a fire a sparkler, like done in 30 seconds if you just stay out of their way. Don't tangle with them. Don't give them a reason to keep going. Do not pour gasoline on the fire. Just be like, okay, are you done?
Well, Leo is like that. Leo.
I
moon.
have Sag Leo, so double fire. So the little ghost that lives in our whatever this program is.
That's exactly what I do, Makwa. Just keep nodding. Yeah.
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 And then just
yeah.
change subjects like you would with a 3-year-old. Honest to God, it's the best thing you can do.
Right.
Okay. Want to eat some food?
Sarah was up every hour last night.
Oh my
Hi, Andrea.
goodness. Well, this is so interesting to me.
And look at this. Kathleen said everything's going wrong in my life. Kathleen, I wonder what astrology. There must be something happening. You must have some sort of astrology placements.
Yeah,
I always suggest a private reading on that because
absolutely.
I have to look at your chart because I'm almost betting. Like, what if she has things in Aquarius, like the moon in Aquarius or Aquarius rising?
Where my head went.
And Pluto could just turn everything upside down. You could be in your Saturn returns. It's hard to say.
In a private reading, it can be such a gift to yourself where you can stop beating yourself up. You can stop, making demands of the universe that later you look at and you go, okay, that wasn't the best moment, we just, we all have them. In astrology, honest to God, this is where I just feel like you save yourself so much time and hopefully suffering. You just eliminate some suffering, get to the part where, okay, now that we've identified the transit, the this, the that, which Hollis is really good at doing. Hollis is also very, 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 very good at, and here's the solution. Here's how you can help yourself. Here's where you should lean into. This is what you might want to be thinking about. Do you have an interest in this? Is this catching your attention? We all need some perspective now and again, and astrology can be so helpful because it's you. It's personalized you, your blueprint.
It is your map to your life.
Your map to your life. There's only one you, and you've got a very special calling in this world. So best to make it as good as it can be, right?
Lynette, you said you're a Sag and easily distracted by food. I'm just going to say you probably have a Taurus placement.
Oh, yeah, I would say.
You probably don't know it, though. You have to look at your whole
are
chart.
Often Taurians because they have a great love of quality.
So let me talk a little bit about this because I can see we have some new faces, like Kathleen saying, I'm a Libra. And then some of the people that come more often, they are aware that there's more placements than just your sun sign. Now, Chelsea said, I enjoyed my birth chart reading with Hollis last week. Very validating and great reference. Thank you, Hollis. You're welcome, Chelsea.
Wonderful.
So here's the thing. Kathleen, like you're saying that you're a Libra. And while that's important, there's a whole bunch of other signs, like your moon sign, which is very important about your emotions. And then there's your rising, which is also very important. And in fact, when I do the horoscope at the end of this, you would not just listen to Libra, but you would also listen to your rising sign and your moon. And frankly, right now, since Venus is retrograde, you want to look and see where your Venus is and what house does Venus rule. Where is Taurus? Where is Libra? And so, Kathleen, right now, Venus is retrograde and it does rule Libra. So Venus retrograde can sometimes turn things upside down, but it's only because it's trying to get you on track. So something must have been off track, but maybe there's also some other placements in your chart that might have something to do with that, like Aquarius or Aries or Pisces. Like any of those kinds of placements right now would be quite difficult, frankly. And
really valuable to know, honestly, if you have a serious amount of Aries or Pisces right now is huge.
Yeah.
So
see, and Makwa is saying it's actually amazing, changed my life after my reading. And that's because I'm validating you, right? I'm looking at thing. Missy said Venus is getting on my nerves lately. Well, Missy, you are a Libra, so you
Yeah,
know.
she's your ruler and she's retrograde, so it's not.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I was wondering what people's level of how uncomfortable are you right now? Like, are you
Right.
hugely uncomfortable? Hollis has a Venus retrograde. I do not. You have not felt comfortable in your skin, so to speak. Like you didn't feel really grounded. You felt like
Yeah, but
a
I
little
feel
out of
like there's a
sort.
lot of changes happening since
Yeah.
Mars affects me more
Yeah.
because I'm a Scorpio rising. So I think it's still that Mars retrograde. And now I feel like things are trying to go forward,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's some changes I have to get used to.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Mars thing.
Yeah.
Actually.
Everything feels, the word that's coming up for me is spinning. It feels like you have Mars spinning in a new direction and you have Venus spinning backwards,
Oh,
you
my
know,
goodness.
and so it feels like there's this washing machine effect that we're all in that has a little bit of that, absolutely not under our control.
Right. And Venus rules everything like around money, your what you love in the world, self-love, relationships. Oh yeah, everything, including friendships and stuff. Like Bianca's saying, my Venus is in Capricorn in the 6th house. So Bianca's looking at her chart. And so what I would say about that, Bianca, is if your Venus is in Capricorn, then what I would say about that is like, that is very grounded. Okay. That's very like, and I start to think about your work in the world because the 6th house rules your day-to-day life. It also rules relationships. So is there something going on with the relationships or money at work? So, you know, it just you want to kind of check that out. And I don't know what's going on exactly in your life, Bianca, but that's where I would be paying attention to: money, work, and the people in your life, your people in your relationships.
Yeah.
And Crystal said, I'm a Pisces. Tomorrow is my birthday. Happy birthday.
birthday.
Everything has been upside down for me the last month. Today felt easier than any other day this past month in some aspects. Well, here's a little hint, Crystal. Like, I don't know how long ago. When did North Node go in?
Eclipses are coming up. We're officially, with this new moon, entering eclipse season. So in a few weeks, there will be a full lunar eclipse followed by a full solar eclipse.
In Pisces.
In Pisces, in the North Node, with the North Node in Pisces.
And so like maybe a couple months ago, especially in the last month, the North Node moved into Pisces, and I've noticed a lot of Pisces are like, oh my God. And that's sometimes the North Node can bring about changes that are meant to happen, destiny that is meant to unwind, whatever that looks like for you. And it can be complicated based on your personal chart. But that's why I have that little guide to help you look at your rising, your sun, moon, and rising. So if anyone's interested in that, all you have to do is use the this live thing right here. If you go to divineandrogen.com/shop2 shop, shop -2. I know how to speak. That could be really helpful for you because you get a little beginner's guide. It's just a couple of dollars and it will help make more and more sense of this. I also have a full-on Astrology 101 class if astrology is really intriguing to you. And I also do personal coaching. And in fact, that class that Bright Hawk and I did was a really great class. It has a bunch of hours of teaching, and then you get 2 coaching sessions with it that you schedule at your own, at whatever time works for you, and you schedule with me and come and ask me questions or whatever is going on, whatever extra coaching or something you didn't understand in our instruction, then I'll try to help you understand it. And that's pretty much how that class works. It's a bigger class. It's a huge package. And then there's also like a little starters kit. like a little beginner's guide. So the beginner's guide can be really helpful for those of you that don't know your rising and your moon sign, because it will tell you how to get your chart for free, how to get the sun, moon, and rising chart. So then when you're listening to me, you can listen to the horoscope based on your sun, moon, and rising. And then what happens is you kind of mix that together and it will tell you how your week will be. Okay.
Samantha.
Yep. So Samantha said, woof, that Venus retrograde with my Libra sun is so interesting right now. It's actually forcing me to take action on justice, not just being a bystander.
That's so deep. That's so perfect.
So beautiful.
So for anybody who doesn't quite understand what she's saying here, Libra, everybody knows the Lady Justice is Libra, right? Holding the scales. And that is often referenced back to the Egyptian goddess Ma'at. And so all about justice, all about being fair. Libra is all about being fair. They absolutely loathe confrontation, but if something is super out of whack, they will stand up and go, that's not fair, which is great. They have a great eye for justice. And so and of course, Libra is ruled by Venus. So since you're Libra, it's your sign, Venus is obviously your ruler. So it's awesome that you're manifesting it in terms of social justice and action, because combined with Mars going forward, that's just beautiful. That's a perfect manifestation of what this can be for you. That's
wow, beautiful. Especially making like review in your heart what justice means and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bianca was saying, I don't know, I've been working overtime like crazy, so sounds like work, money, just like I said, Bianca, to pay medical expenses and some debt we incurred over the past couple of years that we've had to buckle down on. That is work and finances, so I may get some relief there. By the time it goes forward in April, you'll probably feel better, Bianca. So maybe by mid-April, even the end of April, you'll probably really start to feel like you've moved through that. Okay. So that's the good news. That's the part that while we understand what's happening in the astrology, we can know where the light is at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
So when we are in harder times, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's another, I want to applaud you. It's a good use of Venus energy, of buckling down while she's retrograde, doing the work, recognizing it's not going to last forever, and getting relief when Venus eventually goes direct.
Right.
So that, because we're talking, I think it's 42 days, 6 weeks, basically.
It's not as long as this Mars one was, right?
Right.
So it's not as long as that. Thank God. Right.
Because here's a ride. Everybody's on the same ride,
right.
But how it affects you is definitely based on your chart and your configuration. So we love answering your questions. So keep them coming there. This is great.
And here is today's chart. This is what's happening in the sky today. You can see that the moon, most of you can find the moon, and Venus is just a circle with like a plus sign underneath, like in the female symbol. And you can see it's there at 10 degrees Aries, and it's red. That means it's going retrograde. Okay, so that means it's actually going backwards, and you said it went there last night.
Yeah.
And it will be there until April 13 when it goes direct, and then things will start to slowly get better.
And I just want to say, if any of you, I don't know where any of you are in the world, but if you have the opportunity to see the night sky right after the sun sets, there's a procession of planets visible that is spectacular. And Venus has been super bright. You can't, for a while there, you just had to really look at the horizon right after sunset, because the sun and Venus are fairly close. And so you don't see her for very long. Last month, she was really bright. Jupiter is extremely obvious right now. In our view of the world, it was very close to the Orion constellation. So just give yourself that wow of looking at the sky. If you have a chance, if you're in a place where you can see the sky, try to take that moment.
And this entire Venus retrograde is going to lead up to more and more intensity in Aries. And that's what we're going to be feeling in the coming months.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you a heads up that this is just the first thing to happen in Aries. Mercury has just moved into Aries. So fighting words, those kinds of things. That's kind of a thing, just by the way. Like, that's kind of a Mercury's in Aries, so there could be a little bit of like blah 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 blah, right? Okay, there could be like fighting words, there could be, and that's exactly what we're seeing even on the world stage.
Oh my goodness.
Because 0 degrees Aries, isn't that a world point?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay.
0 degrees Aries.
Mhm.
The 0 points of the cardinal signs are world points, which means they're very dramatic. Usually there's dramatic news that everyone is reacting to. Gee, I wonder what that could be.
Right.
Anybody hear anything about anything on Friday? So, God, talk about mean words and harsh words and bad vibes and all of it.
And not that Aries is bad or anything,
No,
but Aries
can be very
tends to
sharp.
Aries can tend to be a bit of a warrior. Aries tends to have a little bit of a warrior energy, and tends to they can be also as much of a hero as they can be the bad guy. They can be the good guy or the bad guy. But the point is that they're usually very aggressive, assertive, and it can sometimes energetically, it can sometimes bring a little bit of fighting energy, which is why Venus is not very comfortable there, because Venus is all about love and feeling good and all that stuff. And in Aries, Venus is kind of like, okay. So it doesn't exactly feel great.
She loves being in Pisces, and she'll retrograde back into Pisces.
Yeah, it is
but
moving
in Aries,
backwards.
It is
Pisces.
An uncomfortable, not comfortable in your skin kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The other phrase that I think very much summarizes Mercury in Aries is cut you to the quick. Like, they're starting to swing before you've even finished being able to say, they're already reacting. So that's dangerous. We saw that. We saw how on the world stage, how that vibration, that vibe, and so many people called it out and a variety of ways.
Yeah,
we don't need to get overly into it. You guys know where we stand politically. Way to the left, this way.
We're so far left you can't reach me. But
anyway, it's fascinating how you can't even make this stuff up when Mercury is on 0 Aries, on a world point, on the world stage. Explosions were happening.
Oh yeah, and I mean, the thing is that what's going to be happening this year is that Neptune's going to move in. So Mercury's in Aries, Venus is retrograde in Aries for a while. It will move back to Pisces and then turn around and go forward in the spring. In like May, it will be back in Aries. Going forward, though, in the meantime, Neptune will move into Aries, and then Saturn moves into Aries. And we're going to have a lot of fighting energy. So if you're worried about fighting and those kinds of things, you are on point. Your intuition is warning you. So please don't dismiss that. Please listen to that.
Yeah.
And if there's something you feel like you have to do to prepare for conflict in our country, you are absolutely accurate.
Yeah, I advise taking walks.
Take a walk, but some people might live in the city and they're thinking about getting the
I get it.
So if something like that is going on and that's why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because it would be irresponsible for me not to say something. This summer we could see conflict in the United States. Okay.
If you're wondering if the revolution's begun, the charts have told us since
they've been talking to us for a while now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how far to go back.
It's unwinding very slow. Yeah. I don't think that we're all going to die or anything like that. I think that it could be hard for a little while politically, financially, environmentally. Like literally our environment, like hearing boom, boom, boom outside or things like that. Okay. And we could probably see a lot of protests and things like that for the next, especially into 2026 and onward from there. But okay. So I just want to let you know that and Aries is not just warriors, like it's also heroes, right? It's also people that stand up and like, so not only, so I thought what was interesting that I seen that I've concluded with some of the mundane astrologers is that not only will we see the worst of leadership, but we will also see the best of leadership. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been some really amazing people coming forward. AOC has been doing some really big work, and there's been I'm trying to remember her name, the Democrat from Texas. She is just phenomenal, and she speaks her truth, and Bernie and all these people are coming forward, and there will be leaders that come out of nowhere, and we will be like, kind of like, whoa, where did you come from? Like, wow, so glad you're here. And then there will also be the opposite of that. Okay. So there will be the best and the worst is what we're going to see in leadership. And then also with Neptune, we're still going to, Neptune has been in Pisces for a while now, leading to all the fake news and stuff not being clear, having a hard time grasping the truth. What's the truth? And that's because of Pisces, Neptune and Pisces. Neptune is about illusions, okay? It's going to move into Aries. And so that probably means that we're going to fight about those illusions, but it will be delusional. And eventually, Neptune will teach us not to fight about those delusions. But at first, it will probably start out that way. But then we will learn, because the thing that gives me hope is Uranus in Taurus is going to move into Gemini, and Pluto is in Aquarius. And see how Pluto is trine the south node there. Pluto is trine the south node, and Uranus has a trine to here. And that tells me that we're getting on track as a country, as a human race, that while it might be hard, and it often is hard for change is hard. And I think we're on track. I think we're going to make changes, but it's going to require people, and especially with Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius is all about the collective. It's all about everybody speaking up. It's all about everyone sticking together. And with Pluto there, Pluto's kind of saying, all right, now stand up for yourself then. Okay. And that means, so like sort of what Samantha was saying, where Samantha was saying that now she feels like she can't just be a bystander, that she has to stand up and take justice. And that's probably also Pluto and Aquarius. I'm just saying. It's a big deal.
So the other thing I want to point out, because somebody said they experienced an earthquake this morning. Look at that. The moon is squaring Pluto. Pluto rules the underworld.
Oh, yeah. And what's her name was saying that? Anne Ortley?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when the moon is in Taurus, it's going to answer to the ruler of Taurus, which is Venus. So we just keep talking about Venus. And so again, that energy is kind of emphasized. It's interesting when you look at a chart how certain themes pop up and then get underlined in a variety of ways. Mm-hmm. And this feels like one of those where it's just sort of, yeah. And by the way, and here it is again, and there it is again.
Oh man, yeah. And as we go on this week, I'm glad to see that Uranus and Pluto will stay in that trine most of the week. Now, in the moon and Taurus, there, I just feel like that's going to like amplify that Venus retrograde for early this week. I think it's going to amplify it emotionally. So if you're finding yourself having some emotional stuff in regards to, and it's really going to depend on where these placements are in your chart. So, and you can listen to the horoscope at the end, and that will help you get a good idea. But with that moon like that, that's just gonna like amplify that Venus retrograde this week as we get started in the Venus retrograde. It's just gonna amplify that energy emotionally, whether it's about money or relationships or both. That's really what's going to be happening.
And I would just say, because it's trining the south node, and we've explained that the nodes, the south node and the north node, also known as the luminaries of the moon, they represent destiny, fate. You don't have a lot of say in these matters. So when you see that the moon is trining the nodes, that's a lovely thing. That's a nice blessing.
That's good, yeah.
You're going to meet the right person today, or whatever it is. It has a really good flow energy to it. That's what a trine is. That's what the blue lines represent. And so you're really, when you see those, you go, oh. When you see the red lines, those represent squares, and squares are opportunities. They're choice points. They can, but sometimes feel like a lot of tension, because it demands, are you going to do this? Are you going to go left? Or are you going to go right? Are you going to say yes? Or are you going to say no? Are you going to do it? Or you're not going to do it? And some people embrace that, and some people are afraid of that. And depending on who's involved in those choices, those transits, planets,
the red lines, the red lines also mean oppositions. When things are completely opposite in the sky of each other,
not easy.
It's not easy. It's one of the hardest things, actually. And so when that happens, it just means that, you have to find a balance. You have to find the balancing point. So just want to say that. And it's okay, Jennifer. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. Hey, Samantha. And happy birthday, Jennifer, to be your birthday next month then. Okay. Well, happy birthday. And I know that it's scary to think about that, but I just want to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Vanessa. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Oh, okay. The one from District 2 of Massachusetts is very good too. That's good to hear, Regina. That's good to hear. I'll look out for that. Hi, Makwa. Makwa was like, probably to the violence, probably. Pluto. Yeah.
I think Makwa was the one who said it. They had
yeah.
So
and Samantha.
My first thought was, gee, I wonder what was Pluto doing, and there it is.
Yeah, exactly. So we know that the beginning of the week could be a little bit intense. I would say until like Wednesday, you might feel a little bit more of a relief, mostly because now we're not having, the moon is moved out of Taurus, out of its rulership.
Yeah, now it's in Gemini.
Yeah.
And so when the moon is in Gemini, Gemini's ruled by Mercury. And of course, Mercury is in that little cluster of planets there on the right-hand side of the screen. And of course, we've been talking about Mercury and how it just entered Aries. So again, with the moon,
fighting words there.
Yeah. So let's think about it. All right. Gemini is air, and it's a great networker. It's great at Geminis know everybody, are happy to talk to everybody. They can be very social, very diplomatic. Great thinkers, make great conversation, kind of thing. So on the other side of Gemini is what? The twins, right? So sometimes they can seem like two different people. Sometimes they can seem to, wow, what you said yesterday totally contradicts what you just said today. I don't understand. So Gemini energy can have that component. And with Mercury and Aries, we've been talking about it. We know those can be some sharp words, because of course the moon is all about our emotions. So now you're adding fast thinking Gemini, emotional moon with Mercury and Aries, which is cut to the quick. I want to say, take a breath.
Yeah.
Decide to take a breath before you decide to blurt out what you might blurt out.
Yeah, try to be careful what you're saying. Tuesday this week, really.
And what is that old? It's not old saying, but there's a wonderful saying, a wonderful meme that says, the decisions you should make before you say something is, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it constructive? No, that sounds like the same as is it true? Is it 3 questions, 4 questions, something like that? One of those. Give yourself a moment to pause and go, yeah, just because I thought of that, do I need to share that? And really, whatever works for you. But it's definitely, it's a little hot sauce on that chart is that Wednesday?
Yeah, so that's Wednesday. And so what I was realizing is also anything that you say this week or anything that goes down with fighting words is going to be reviewed when Mercury goes retrograde next week. So I just wanted to say that because I was trying to look and see when does Mercury go retrograde exactly. It looks like it goes retrograde on March 15th. So right now, everything you say could become, fuel later on for a fight or something like that, especially in Aries. Okay. So Mercury is going to go retrograde in Aries while Venus is retrograde. So relationships and stuff like that, you need to just be aware, take it slow, go slow. Okay. Yeah. And try to think about things before you say things. Try not to get too frustrated.
I think it's Nadia that says, and I have no experience on this score, but she says people who break up during Venus retrogrades never stay broken up. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, and any new relationships that start in Venus retrograde also don't usually.
They don't last.
They don't last.
It goes.
Same thing goes with Mercury retrograde. If you break up during a retrograde, it's not likely to last.
Yeah. And if you get together during those retrogrades, again, if you get together during a retrograde, you want to do a synergy chart of both people because it'll tell you a tremendous amount. So I, for example, have Mercury retrograde, and it's not, it's not a big deal. If you have retrograde planets, when that planet goes to retrograde, you're like, oh, this is familiar. Oh, I get this vibe. I understand. Okay.
Yeah, and I noticed that on Thursday there's a T-square with the moon. That could be a little uncomfortable on Thursday with the continuing Venus retrograde. It could create some challenges for us, especially with the moon in a square to the south node and the north node and Saturn and Neptune technically. It's just a lot of squares that over there in Pisces. There's a lot of energy in Pisces and Aries. If you have Pisces or Aries placements and you're like, what the hell is going on, Hollis? This is what's going on. Okay, my friends.
Circle,
like just
right there.
Right there. You can see it all right there.
Yeah.
It's right here where you can see all this business right here. And there's a lot of energy going on there. And then there's going to be a T-square, which is this red triangle. It's called a T-square. It's a type of shape that we can see in the aspects that tends to create a certain type of energy. It does mean that the problem is solvable, but you might require some balance and some work on your behalf. You might just have to work through some of the problems.
And the other reason why we keep pointing to the moon and emotions is, of course, it's also, you can see at the top of the sky there, it's with Jupiter, and Jupiter makes everything bigger. So get a little nervous about, now your emotional field is this big, and we have Mercury in Aries. That's a little like, oh gosh.
I'm glad that T-square doesn't last into Friday.
Yeah.
And there's a void moon on Friday afternoon, so that's great.
Just a short one. It's just a little one on Friday afternoon. Again, what we tried to tell you is it's that void moment when the moon is moving out of Cancer and into Leo. And those are totally different energies. Oh my goodness. One's water, one's fire, and one's cardinal and one's mutable. Or Leo's fixed? Fixed. Sorry. So very, very different energies. So, and of course, when the moon is in Cancer, it's like, good to be home. Kick back. Let's just take care of ourselves. So I got to deal with Mars.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Mars will help clean up around the house, get that project finished, whatever it is. But Moon is home in Cancer, and it's at the and it's in a square to Neptune, not great. In a square to Mercury, not great.
Right.
And Venus.
And as things are trying to go, it's a little bit of a rough week this week. Because I would say that even on this day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you need to be careful what you're talking about, what you're saying, fighting words. Be careful of what you're saying, because you don't want to create a fight or conflict inadvertently. I mean, unless you really need to fight that person, maybe you need to do that. I don't know, but
and there you have it on Saturday with Mars conjunct.
Yeah, Mars and the Moon conjunct. Yeah. That's emotions. That's
fiery emotions.
So could be difficult on Saturday if you have some challenges going on for you in relation to money or relationships. Okay.
Well, and we'll tell you the same thing we tell the grandchildren. If somebody says something you don't like, you can always just walk away. You don't have to respond.
You can.
So if that helps. And of course there's a void again that night, Sunday night. And our biggest recommendation during voids is to chill. Just don't try to do anything. Just try to take some time off. If you can do some self-care, whatever that means for you, that's what we recommend. I was fascinated by the dialogue we had with y'all about what was this morning like when there was a void moon. Void is exactly what it sounds like. You're in the void. It's not a time to try to get going. And I definitely had that this morning. It was like, I kept thinking, oh, I should get going. Another half hour goes by. I should really get going. And then finally I was like, oh my God, it's the void moon. I should listen to myself. Let's take the dog for a walk.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell you about them. So when you have those moments, hopefully you go, oh, that's what Bright Hawk was talking about. The void. We're in the void. Take a break.
Yeah. So like Vanessa said, like the law, what you can say will be used against you. Exactly. That's what's happening this week, Vanessa. Exactly.
It's like Miranda.
Yeah. It's like, it will be happening this week. And with that Aries energy, with Mercury and Venus, Mercury, going forward and Venus going backwards, it's just creating an energy in Aries that could be a little bit preemptive to like fighting. So, I just want to say that.
My hope is that you'll see at the top of that, like in that cluster, what that group represents is Chiron, Venus, Mercury, Neptune, North Node, Saturn, Sun, Ceres. That's a lot of energy on one side of the sky, number one. With Chiron involved, and then whatever all these things mean, I just named a bunch of stuff, but it probably sounds like gibberish. Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's always having to work through something that life has thrust upon you you would never choose in a million years. But since you got to deal with it, you might as well grow from it, right? And so Chiron is that wounded healer. It's the gifts that we get from our suffering. It's the gold that comes from getting onto the other side of the lead. It's that realization of, oh, boy, that was a hard one. Piece of wisdom. Would never have asked for that. But now that we're here, I'll share my wisdom with others, right?
Right.
So that's part of what I kind of keep my fingers crossed and hope that, well, Chiron is kind of leading the parade of all that energy. Maybe it will lead to all of our greater healing.
Exactly.
And that's a hope worth holding on to, I think.
Hi, Kathleen. Welcome.
Oh, hi.
Glad to hear, Kathleen. And then, yep, your mom is a Pisces. That's probably not the Pisces that's making her calm. Just saying.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
My mom was a Pisces too. She was not calm.
No, it's not.
But this is where we would, and this is why it's really worth doing the little booklet that Hollis put together, so you understand the very, very simple basics of your chart. Knowing what your rising sign is everything, especially after Saturn return, because once you're out over 30, which by the way, in astrology, that's when you just begin adulthood. It's like do your first Saturn return, and then we'll consider you an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're talking, you're launched into life in your 30s. You're starting to really understand things, and you are really playing now out of your rising sign, way more than you are your sun sign. And the older you get, the more you express that rising sign. That's why it's so important to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why a lot of people, especially if you're a late placement in the sign, in other words, if you're 20 degrees or greater, when Hollis does the chart, she'll notice that the lineup of what they're doing to forecast, it starts at the 0 of that sign. I'm 29 degrees in my sign. So I can't just listen to Sagittarius. I have to listen to Capricorn. It's the only way it's going to make sense for me, and in addition to the rising and the moon. Yep. So if you're a late placement, that's the other thing that I'll say.
Yeah, or even an early placement, you should be listening. Like if you're
Exactly.
0 degrees, you should be listening to the one before.
Right.
Yeah, so if you're on the cusp, you should be listening to both.
Yeah, if you're at the very beginning, the first 5 degrees, if you're at the very end, the last 5 degrees, or even up to 10 degrees.
So you look for your sun, which is like a circle with a little dot in it, and see what the degrees, what's the number next to it.
Yeah.
You can get your free chart at astro.com. You know, like I said earlier, you can always get this beginner's guide. It will tell you exactly how to do it, exactly how to find your sun, moon, and rising. And then you'll have your chart printed. Use the beginner's guide, print it out. And then you can come into this broadcast every week, which, by the way, we're moving it a little bit later because Lacrosse is not going to be able to be joining us. He's going to actually write a book, and we're in total support of that. So look out for his book at some point when it comes out. I'll tell you guys about it. But in the meantime, I feel like, we're gonna kind of change a little bit of like the way Rainbow Soul is approached, and then also we will we're going to be doing it at 5:00 Mountain Time, which is 7:00 East Coast time. Okay,
and hoping that's a good fit for y'all. So if anybody wants to weigh in on, we love this time, if 3:00 3:30 was a lot because of Lacrosse on the East Coast, so we're really trying to find the sweet spot for folks on Monday, and we want to find that spot and stick to it because we know consistency is the key for everybody in life, trying to create good habits. So that's definitely,
and we would do our best to try to do it. And there might be times that we're not able to do it for whatever reason, like we're going to travel or something, but most of the time we would do that. Samantha has a really good question. Does the void moon moments affect mediumship? And what I want to say about that is, so Samantha, what happens is if you do a reading during a void moon, it's not really, if you do any kind of reading during a void moon, it's kind of like, it's that kind of reading. So to some degree, you don't want the moon and void because then there's no drama. And you kind of need a little bit of drama. You need the person that's getting the reading to go, oh, you have connected with my loved one. Wow. Okay. And that's drama. And you won't get that during a void moon. They'll just kind of be like, And so that's usually what happens with any kind of reading if you're doing a reading for someone else. I think it probably would even count if you're doing like your own practice. You'd have a practice, maybe. So you were practicing this morning. Did you have a practice? I'm just wondering. Yeah, mostly Bianca, we should hang on tight. Enjoy the ride. Or try to enjoy the ride.
Exactly. And I kind of feel that way about the next many months.
She likes your robot sound.
Oh, cool.
She wants you to do that again. Bianca and Bright Hawk are both at that 28 degrees Sag. So Bianca, make sure you listen in to Capricorn too.
Yeah. And that cusp, by the way, is the cusp of prophecy, if I recall. So, no pressure. We're here to change the world. Just so
Okay.
you know.
All right. Bianca says she loves this time, so this works great for
Oh,
her.
good.
Yeah. And
Well,
then
thank you so much
Samantha
for the
was like,
interaction,
got
too.
it, makes sense. Luckily it was someone who gets practiced on a lot. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So Samantha, I if you're practicing, and we just told you when the void moons are, there's no huge void moons this week, but if you kind of avoid those times, it'd probably be better off. Do self-care during that time. Hey Tracy, great to have you with us.
That's
Samantha
great.
said so.
Hi.
Yeah, it was Yeah. Yep, exactly, Samantha.
Thanks for
Exactly.
helping us collect data. And I love that because, I've been, we only know what our own experience is.
Well,
and
that's
there's
what-
been times where it's like, we've told you, we traveled during a void moon and it was great. There's been other times where we've been in a void moon where we thought it was going to be chill and it was like, oh my goodness, why is everything feel like and it was and what
It's just hard though.
And what I've mostly taken away from the experience is it's a void moon, don't have any expectations.
Makwa, the code is live, LIVE. See it there?
There you go.
See it in the thing at the bottom of the screen?
Great.
Just LIVE caps.
That's great. Thanks for buying that.
Thanks for buying that, Makwa.
Thanks for your support.
I hope you enjoy it.
And then after the little booklet, if you want a little more, that course is really, we tried to really break it down, and we've had several people in our community say, wow.
Well, there's reviews on Google.
I understand.
There's like 3 reviews on Google for that class.
Neat.
So, one from Shelly, I think, and one from Misto. So we have a couple of reviews, and then another girl. So there's actually reviews on Google if you look up Divine Androgen for the booklet for the astrology class and my astrology readings.
And with that coupon, it is an extraordinary deal.
Oh, okay.
It really is. So,
Makwa, have you used the code before?
Oh,
I wonder if it expired or something. I'll have to look at it.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us know.
Oh, live 50. It worked, and it worked. So is it supposed to be live 50? I have to log on to look at it. Try live 50, Makwa.
I love it when
see if
people
that
help
works.
each other. That's great.
Oh my gosh. Did I not type it right or something in here? Tell me if live 50 works.
Oh, no, she said no.
Okay. All right. Oh, Tracy's saying it's live 50, Makwa.
Okay.
It's live 50.
Cool.
I messed it up. Oh my gosh. You guys know my codes better than I do. That's terrible. Oh my God.
Okay. So you want to do the forecast for the week?
Yeah. Oh my God. I make myself laugh when I make mistakes like that. I think it is live 50. All right. I'm changing it on here. Okay. So it's live 50. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my God.
Are you didn't do the astrology forecasts?
Yeah. Sorry, that's oh my gosh.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
See, Mercury is starting its thing already.
Oh, wow.
And I have it set up and everything.
I thought so.
Okay.
That's what I was like.
All right, so I'm gonna do the horoscopes for everyone. Remember to listen for your sun, moon, and rising. And if you're on the cusp, if your sun is on the cusp, listen to both. Even if your moon is, I would listen to both. Like if your moon is, or your rising is on the end.
I really should listen to the Cancer moon, but because I'm a 0 Leo.
I would listen
only
to Cancer
listen
moon.
to the Leo.
Yeah, I would listen to Cancer.
I haven't really paid attention.
But it would apply to only your emotions area that yod that you have.
Right.
That it's in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Let me share my software with you. So remember to at least listen to your sun, moon, and rising. And we're going to look at the Venus retrograde generally for this week. Because I also want to include the Mercury in its shadow this week, as well as the moon's transit out of Taurus So what I want to say is that in the beginning of the week for Aries, now this is for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Aries, you're really going to feel some identity about self-love, about how you're feeling about yourself. Maybe you've been really down recently with Mars retrograde. Hey, I'm not surprised to hear that. Mars rules Aries, and it's been retrograde for quite some time, and now it's in Cancer, finally going direct. But now Venus wants you to reflect on that self-love, Aries. So take some time, take some personal care, take some time to take a look at how you feel about yourself and take a review on that, Review how you feel about yourself. Review how much you love yourself. And with Mercury there, be careful what you say later, especially as we get later in the week. Just be aware of what you say this week, because your words are going to carry much further than you ever thought. It's just they're going to cut deeper. They're going to go further. So you just want to be careful about what you're saying, and that could be in good ways as well, So make sure what you're saying is what you want to be carried out further, okay? So with all that energy in Aries right now, and everything is approaching the end of Pisces, is going to have a whole bunch of planets leaving it, and is going to be a lot of energy in Aries coming up. So please take this time to take care of yourself now with Venus retrograde Aries, because you've got a big year ahead of you. You got just a huge year. So just hold on, okay? Because there's a lot of planets moving into Aries this year. So that's for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's going to have a lot to do with your identity and possibly money and your identity in relation to that. Okay? So just so you know, especially like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay? And then as we go forward to Taurus. So now Taurus, what I want to say about things for you, what I want to say about you, Taurus, is that for you, this Venus retrograde is happening in an area that you don't even see it. You don't even recognize it. You're not even aware of it. It's in a hidden part of the sky from you. And that means that it could also have a little to do with like psychic abilities. So there could be something in that way, in that regard, as well as like your connection to institutions like nursing homes and mental health facilities and hospitals. If you have any connection to those, there could be something, especially with relationships or money, that has something to do with that. And as we go forward with all that Aries energy, and Venus is going backwards. Right now, things are going to feel uncomfortable, but I feel like you'll feel a little bit better when Venus gets over into Pisces, because Venus doesn't like to be in Aries, and Venus is your ruling planet. So this Venus retrograde, it's not going to go unnoticed, but you're just not going to really understand where it's coming from. Why do you feel like this? Is it just all the change? There's lots of things that have changed in the last few months, right? Right, Taurus? So, hang in there. You still have a lot more change. There's going to be Uranus is going to be moving out of your sign this year. And a lot of things are going to be wrapping up with all the change you've experienced in the last few years. There's going to be lots of changes happening for you. So hang in there, Taurus. New things are around the corner, but in a good way. And it's not going to be fast change yet. Mostly you're in for a smooth ride, Taurus. But right now, this week could be a little difficult, mostly because Venus is in Aries and it's uncomfortable for you. Okay, so Taurus, just be aware of that. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you could be affected in that way. Okay, so it'd be affected in sort of an invisible way where you're not really sure where it's coming from, or maybe it has something to do with like those hidden places that I just talked about, like psychic abilities, hidden enemies, or institutions like nursing homes or hospitals or something. Okay, now we're going to talk about Gemini. Gemini. It's going to have everything to do with your job, your work in the world. It's going to be frustrating, probably going to have some relationship conflicts where you maybe butt heads with people. Be careful what you say because Mercury is in Aries in your 11th house. So be careful what you say with your boss. Be aware of your friends. Are you having some conflicts with people you know? What's going on in that department? It's definitely going to have something to do with friends, your boss, or people you know. Okay, so Gemini, just be aware of that. And you may not know where some of the emotions are coming from, so you might just need to slow down a little bit. Mercury is your ruling planet. It's now in Aries, so you got fighting words. I understand that. I'm a Virgo, and I also have Mercury as a ruling planet, and I would just say, just be careful what you say, and try not to instigate any fights with your words. Okay. And so that's going to be for especially with your friends, bosses, or anyone that has any influence over you. And now for Cancer. So this is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. For you, it's going to be more about your career. There's going to be something about money. Maybe you don't get that raise you wanted, or you don't get the bonus, or something like that. It's not going to be very comfortable. It's not going to be fun when Venus goes retrograde. For you, it's going to have something to do with your job. It could have something to do with a relationship at work. But be careful what you say, like I said, and just try to do your best to hold. Wednesday will probably be the smoothest day for you. But in the beginning of the week could be difficult. Wednesday would be kind of a break, and then Thursday and Friday might be a little bit hard. But that's for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So Cancer, just try to hang in there. I'm doing the right thing. And Cancer, you might start to feel later on in the week like maybe things are trying to get better, but with that moon in Cancer, you could be very emotional about what happened earlier in the week. So I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up about that, and just try to take some deep breaths and work through your emotions to the best of your ability, because that's really, we're all going to have to take a deep breath. Try not to say anything, especially at work. Okay. So just be careful about work for you, particularly with relationships or money. Okay. And then as we move on to Leo, Leo, this is in your 9th house. So this is going to have something to do with, with legal matters. Legal matters could be a little bit difficult or try to cost you money with Venus retrograde. It will resolve in April when Venus starts to go direct, but Venus retrograde in your house of legalities, there could be some legal stuff that comes up that could prove to be difficult. So just but I do see that it will come together. It just could be difficult making steps for you. So I'm just going to say that's the 9th house. That's the house of legal things. It could also be spiritual awakenings, higher learning, anything that has to do with any of those kinds of topics. And any kind of like fines or anything that has to do with the legal system or justice or anything like that. And you definitely are also going to be dealing with like spiritual awakenings and things like that. Okay, so that's Venus, but you'll probably won't feel very good until April 13th, and then it will feel like things are finally starting to smooth out and you'll start to figure things out. Okay, so try to hang in there. It's going to be okay. You're going to get through this, Leo. You're going to do this. And that's for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And now for Virgo. Now, Virgo, what I want to say is that this Venus retrograde is happening in an area of your chart that is very, it's a little bit hidden. It's taboo. It's not so much hidden like the 12th house. it's more like it's taboo. Like we don't want to talk about it. This isn't really something I want to talk about. I'm not sure I want to really deal with this. It could be something like death. It could be something about sex. It could, especially since it's Venus. Venus rules sex and sexuality. It could also have something to do with money or other people's money. Maybe, there's some sort of something going on with someone else's money that you don't really want to talk about too much. And I would just say as Venus goes retrograde, to just ride it out and just try to be as honest and as open as you can be, Virgo. And Virgo, you're super grounded. So call on the earth to help you with this. Tap into your groundedness to pull you down in this moment. But you could feel like there's a taboo subject that you have to deal with, something that makes you uncomfortable. So they usually say sex, death, or taxes, because usually one of those three things makes you uncomfortable. And all I can think about is my taxes. So Venus retrograde, I'm going, oh man. Okay, so and I'm trying to get ready for taxes. So I totally get it. Okay, so and I'm a Virgo. So that's exactly what's going on for me. So what's going on for you, Virgos? And that's for Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Okay. It's going to have something to do with that taboo topic. It could have something to do with the occult or awakening. Okay. It will depend on what your other placements are. Now for Libra, this Venus retrograde is going to have something to do with relationships. Okay. So be careful what you say, especially because Venus is your ruler. This is very strong for you, Libra. Venus is your ruler, and she is opposite Libra right now in the sky. So that means if you're a Libra rising, it's probably in your house of relationships. If you're a Libra sun, Venus is retrograde opposite your sun, opposite the way you're going. If you're a Libra moon, this is opposite your emotions. Okay, I'm a Libra moon. Okay, so Venus is going opposite. She's going backwards. Venus is going backwards in Aries, which tends to be like, a little bit of fighting words, pretty uncomfortable. So if you have any placements in Libra, you're going to notice this definitely for sure. Even me, I usually don't always feel Venus retrogrades because my Venus is retrograde, but I can feel it with my Libra moon. It's just making me a little uncomfortable in ways I don't really understand. And my moon is in the 12th house. So that makes sense. Okay. So Venus retrograde, it's going to have something to do with relationships probably, or money, but it's probably going to be more relationships. Okay. Especially for you, Libra, because, relationships are everything to you. Anyone with a strong Libra placement, relationships are very important to them. And now as we move on to Scorpio, so this is for Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Scorpio, this is in Venus at this time is transiting a part of your chart that has to do with your day-to-day life. And boy, am I feeling it. Scorpio rising. I've had lots of changes to my day-to-day life that I'm working hard to work through. And I'm also dealing with children. I find it interesting that Mercury's moved in to the house of children for Scorpio. And so what that talks about is, like, be careful what you say to children, be careful but particularly your day-to-day life, your life at work, your day-to-day, whatever you do every day, be careful what you're saying, be aware that relationships or money could have some influence on that. And just be aware. Okay. Just try to stay aware and try to stay present. Try not to say anything mean. Try to stay patient. Make sure you take care of yourself. Do some inner love, Scorpio. You're really good if you take some quiet time and you know it. So just take a little quiet time. This won't be particularly strong, but you'll probably feel it. You'll feel it less than the Libra will. Okay. Now, if we move on, that's Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, unless, of course, you have Aries placements or something, Scorpio. Um, but yeah, so then we have Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. And Sagittarius, this is going to have everything to do with your creativity and children. Creativity, romance, and children, especially with Venus retrograde. It's going to maybe push you into looking at, maybe there's children in your lives that need help. Maybe there's Bright Hawk over here laughing because yeah, she's dealing with this. This is happening to her right now. And there's children that might be struggling, that need help, that need support, they need love, they need a special treatment. And in that, that's what's important here. That's what's happening. And with Venus in Aries, it's going backwards in your house of children and in your house of your childhood. So if you find yourself reflecting on children or your childhood or your relationship with that, or anything that has to do with money and children and your family of origin, that's what's going on. It's this Venus retrograde. It's time to revisit that for whatever reason, Sagittarius. And there's something going on there that you have to visit and take care of. You'll probably feel better in April. Okay, as we get into April, you'll feel better. You'll feel more comfortable as Venus moves into Pisces. Now, as we go forward, we're going to look at Capricorn now. So Capricorn, this is for Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. Capricorn, this is all in your house of community, your house of communication, siblings. Hopefully you're not arguing with your siblings too bad. Oh my gosh, okay. So hopefully you're not arguing with your siblings. Hopefully you're learning to get along with them in a better way. Maybe you're learning to understand your siblings or help them a little bit. And maybe there's some improvement in the relationship that's happening or in your community. I know the reason Bright Hawk and I are laughing is because our grandchildren, this is like,
right.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So my grandson's a Capricorn and this is definitely happening for him. And you're learning about your sibling, or you're learning how to get along with your sibling better in this Venus retrograde. It will be very much part of what's happening for you right now, or about communication. Okay. So this could also be about communication. All right. Now let's see. Now we move on to, so that's Capricorn. Now we're going to move on to Aquarius. This is for Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. This has everything to do with money for you. Oh, Aquarius, this has to do with your money and how you make money, how you spend money, what you spend money on, how that money feels. Okay, Aquarius, hang in there because it is all about the Benjamins right now. And whatever's going on for you in the finance department, I'm just going to say that you're dealing with it to the best of your ability this week. And you know what? Just do your best this week, especially early in the week. Try to be careful any choices or contracts that you sell with that Mercury that you sign, because of that Mercury in Aries. You just want to be careful because Mercury is in its shadow period. So if there's any kind of loans or anything like that you're getting, if you can hold off until April, until late April to sign that would be better. If you can't, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, but it's just look at it very closely, review the terms a little extra. That's what would be my suggestion for Aries, sun, moon, and rising.
Aquarius.
Sorry. Yeah, what did I say?
Aries.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. That was for Aquarius. Aquarius, be careful of money, contracts, or anything that has to do with money and contracts, okay? All right. So now for Pisces, last one, Pisces.
Wow.
Oh, Pisces. I'm just going to say, oh my God, you poor thing. You got a party going on in your sign, and thank goodness in just this spring, most of those planets are going to move out of there. You know, right now the sun is there. That will move along into the Aries, you know, at the equinox. But then Saturn will move into Aries. Neptune will move into Aries. So just hang in there, Pisces. Just another month. I know it's been really intense for you, but it will start to calm down in about a month. I know that you're having a lot of identity things. And with this Venus going retrograde, learning to love yourself will be everything. So love yourself. Find a way to love yourself. Just try to tap into that energy, because that's really what's important right now. That's what will serve you the best right now, is if you spend some time doing some self-love, Pisces. You got to turn that love in on you. You can't sacrifice everything for everyone else. So look inward, spend some time loving yourself, Pisces. That's the best thing you can do for yourself in this transit. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's going to be a little bit of an intense week, I think, for everyone.
What did Bianca say? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on for the ride.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. Amber Sanchez you can send stars if you're on the Divine Androgen page, but Psychic Insights doesn't have enough followers yet. So you guys more people have to follow it. It's new, so you know it happens.
And the Pisces Aries cusp, that's exactly the cusp of our granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's exactly on that same cusp.
She's exactly on that same exact cusp. Yeah.
So you guys are like in the thick of it this week, in the thick of it. So a lot of just gentleness. Be careful what you say to yourself, not just what you say to others, but what you say to yourself. Be kind.
But see, Carla, instead of dreading the rest of the week, like that's okay. But that's actually not a good way to use astrology. A better way to use astrology is taking a deep breath, being prepared, like maybe do some meditation in the morning, maybe make sure that you're on point, maybe make sure you take care of yourself. Maybe make sure that you can be there for those people and understand that when people do get crabby or people do get grumpy or whatever, you can understand that it's the energy, and instead of taking it so personally.
So remember my book, The Dancing Hippo? One of the messages in the book is about, I'm willing to be delightfully surprised by how sweet this life can be. And I often say to the kids, you get what you expect. So if you walk around going, it's going to be terrible, you're setting yourself up for that. And we all know better. We all know that expectations are the things that can kick us in the teeth. And that if we instead have an attitude of curiosity, flexibility, willingness to see, willingness to be in the moment, willingness to be flexible, things tend to go differently.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, we're dealing with our granddaughter, and her attitude right now is like, oh, you're too young to have this terrible attitude, you know? It's like,
and
we
Venus,
are going to work
and we
on
just
this.
realized Venus is retrograde, pretty much going to go right over top of her sun, and we're like, oh.
And she's that Pisces Aries cusp.
Okay.
It's tough right now.
It's tough.
And
so then we can have more compassion for her, and we can understand that it's just a temporary transit.
That's right.
And that she just needs to learn to focus on loving herself. So then, because we understand the astrology, we can focus on helping her learn to love herself instead of thinking that this is a bigger problem than it is. It's not. It's just temporary. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? There's definitely a way to approach astrology. Don't just get caught up in some doom or gloom story. That's not helpful. And Amber said, did you do Leo? I definitely did. Leo, Venus is retrograde in the 9th house, which is spiritual awakening, legal matters, anything like that, or higher learning, something to do with money, maybe. Okay. Thanks for the stars, Amber. We appreciate that. Samantha, you know what? It blows my mind. And I'm doing the readings. Sometimes when I'm doing a reading for somebody, they'll be like, I'll say something or say a few things that are incredibly accurate, and I'll just be like, wow.
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 It's
Wow.
never boring.
Wow.
It's always interesting.
And yeah, so just, you know what, Samantha, I've been practicing astrology for years and I'm still fascinated at its accuracy.
Yeah.
I just,
and it just, even just
It
now
just-
when we looked at tonight's chart, you know, the thing that jumped out was, as soon as you started talking about it, was like, oh my God,
Of
why didn't I
course.
see this
Yeah,
Aries 0
right.
world point? Boom. Of course, you know, tempers are going to fly and people are going to blow up, and oh my goodness, you know, so it really helps make sense of the world. And yeah, we absolutely are not trying to do doom and gloom. What we're absolutely trying to do is say, oh, today's going to rain, bring an umbrella. Oh, it's going to be hot today, wear a tank top, you know, whatever.
Right, exactly.
It's like very different weather.
Just so you can be prepared. So you know this week that your self-care is very important.
It's
Self-care is really important this week for everybody.
The other metaphor is the tides, right? The moon affects all of us with tides, right? So you want to launch a boat when the tide's going out, and you want to bring the boat back in when the tide's coming in, right? Yep. And if you try to do it opposite of those things, wow, you're going to have a really challenging experience. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is being able to say, oh, okay, so the void time, let's not schedule anything during that. Let's take a walk.
That's what it's about. It's not about scaring yourself. It's about being prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that I know that Aries, that Venus is retrograde in Aries, I'll just know that it's just a time for her to learn how to love herself, and that's fine. We can focus on that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amber. We appreciate those stars. You know, it's like a tip. It's nice. It's little coins in the pocket. She is 10 on March 21st. So this March she will be 10 years old. So, yep.
Oh, good, Carrie. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Carrie said, I'm so glad I saw this. I almost lost my temper yesterday with someone, but I held my tongue even when they kept asking if I was mad. I'm glad I kept my mouth shut. Yeah, good job, Carrie. Sometimes.
Are you mad?
Sometimes it's not worth. Yeah. Carla says that she's been trying to change her attitude. You know, Carla, one of the best ways to do that is to look at your astrology chart.
For sure.
Because everybody's astrology chart is a little bit different, and these energies affect us all differently.
Yeah.
And I can tell you how to change your attitude. I can tell you what to do to change how you see and view the world.
Okay? And attitude has
and sometimes the reading itself does that.
Attitude has everything to do with what's the story you're telling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as a storyteller, I'm always like, if the story you're telling yourself is disempowering, negative, or not helpful, get a better story. Really, it's just as simple as that. I know I sound like I'm not trying to diminish anyone's experience, but I am trying to say there are tools available to change your experience if you want to.
Yep. And I offer that in an astrology reading. I can get you started. I can at least tell you which way to go. And Carla said, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Tracy said, Tracy, your birthday's the 21st too.
Wow. Happy birthday to all the equinox babies. Spring equinox.
Oh my God. Carrie said, my friends refer to my temper as charming rage. What do you have, like Mars and Sag or something?
Charming rage.
Mars and Sagittarius. So, oh my gosh, that's probably Mars and Sagittarius. I bet you it is. I bet you. Or something else what else is charming? You know?
That's exactly what I thought. Charming goes with Sag.
Carla, the best thing, astro.com is a good place to get your chart. And if you get this beginner's guide, it will show you how to read it. Yeah. It will show you how to get started reading, and it's just a few bucks. And just use that code LIVE50 now that everybody told me that it's LIVE50. But just use that code LIVE50 and you'll get 50% off. And it's a great little PDF it's just a little guidebook that tells you exactly what to do to read your sun, moon, and rising. It's just a real easy guide. It's just a few bucks just to help you get started, help you get out of the gate, and print your chart and bring it back next week at the same time at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time next Monday. We'll be doing another broadcast for next week, and you can look at your chart and be like, oh, okay, I see where the moon is. I see where the sun is. Yeah. So, it's just a few dollars. Carrie said, I'm a Libra sun, Cancer moon, not sure my rising. A Libra sun. Okay.
Well, and what
that's
we're
part of
talking
why
about,
you're also probably charming.
yeah,
And the Cancer moon.
Yeah. And so when you have your whole chart, when we're trying to understand what your temperament is, we look at Mars and the moon, of course. When we're looking at what's your what's going to be your vibe going into relationship, we look at where's Venus, right? And then, everybody has to deal with Saturn return. We've talked about Saturn is the authority figure, right? Saturn is dad. Saturn is structure. Saturn is institutions. So that tells us sometimes about what your work in the world might look like, things like that. So these are things you start to learn in the course that we put together that helps explain all this.
There's the course is even more in depth.
There's so many layers.
There's the little book, and then there's it's okay, Carla. That's what this is about, is to bring your chart, and so you can ask questions.
Great. We're happy for the questions. We love it.
That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this live. So, Tracy, it's probably in your files section. Tracy knows that I probably know. Tracy, it's in your files. Look for files. It's usually like a little blue folder, and it says files. Try to look there. See if it's there. See if you have a files folder. I don't know what kind of phone you have.
Funny.
But yeah, I'm gonna pull 3 tarot cards now from the Love is Love Pride deck. So we're gonna see what energies we get.
It's always interesting to see how the cards reflect the astrology forecast.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So first of all, this is about all right, so this is about the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is all about intention. This is about our fiery intention. What intention have we had? What were we going fast on? Because this will be a very fast moving energy. This is the Queen of Wands, and this is in reference to what has already happened in the past. So the Queen of Wands tends to represent some fast moving energy from the past that had something to do with an intention. And now, going forward, you're probably going to notice this, which is the Two of Wands, which is very much about this is about pairing up with someone else to create your intention or to start to manifest your intention in some way. This is about partnerships and relationships, and I think that's what we've been talking about, Venus retrograde. Ooh. So this very much will have a lot to do with your partnerships and relationships and people that you're paired up with or teamed up with. That's pretty much what that's about. And in the future, in the very near future, there could be some this is a Devil card, which has a lot to do with especially with Venus retrograde. I know it happens to me sometimes. Be careful how you're spending your money. Be careful of any indulgences. I've had a little bit harder time watching what I eat and things like that. This will have a lot to do with temptation or things that tempt you out of who you normally are. That's this Devil card. So, and it's normal. Everyone has something that tempts them outside of who they really are. And I noticed during Venus retrograde, a lot of us will engage in that. Okay. So that's what this is about. This is beware of your temptations in the coming week. Beware of those temptations and try not to engage in them too much. So remember the intentions that you set in the past that were probably very big, the intentions that you had, and be aware of your partnership and how you come together with others and how you work together with others and how that's affecting your here and now. And going forward, be aware that there could be some temptations or something else that's kind of throwing you off a little bit. So try to be easy on yourself. Give yourself room. You know what I do is I just give in to the temptation sometimes, just a little bit, just enough. Apparently my camera wants to be blurry. Just enough to make it like I just give myself just a little bit. Like I try not to overindulge, and instead I just kind of go with a little bit. And then that tends to that tends to kind
Instead
of
of
savor it a little
buckling
bit.
down
Yeah,
on
don't buckle
yourself
down and
being
pull back on
overly
yourself.
stretched.
Yeah,
Just-
don't do that. Just give yourself a little bit, you know, or like, and so you know, like I had a little extra snack, and it wasn't 1,000 calories. It was a little cup of popcorn and some M&Ms. Who can And they're not real M&Ms. They're like, you know, natural M&Ms. So it's like 60 calories. It's no big deal. It's dark chocolate. It's good for me. You know, so do that. Like try to find a clean option, right? So like for me, it's food. Some of you might be money. Some of you might be relationships or other temptations that tempt you. So just be aware of those going forward this week. That's really what the reading's about.
And mostly we hope you have a fantastic week. We hope you have a really good week and that this helps you breathe easier and go, okay, so there's going to be some this and that in the energy field, but now I know, and I know how to, you know, take a breath, go for a walk, be good to myself, and be aware. And more than anything, we just wish you all the very, very best. We send you lots of love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Makwa.
Thank you.
We're so glad that we help you feel better. I wish I could pronounce your language correctly. Chi Miigwech for your energy sharing, which I believe means thank you. And you always make so many humans feel better. Hugs and kisses from Canada. Good. I hope you enjoy that little booklet. It's really helpful. You're welcome, Carla. I hope you have a great week. And just remember, go slow, take care of yourself, focus on self-love, because it will make this week so much easier if you just focus on loving yourself every day. Just do a little extra. Oh, look, I did pronounce it.
Okay. That's great. Oh, and there was such a good little phrase that's helped me when I'm thinking I'm going to lose my mind, when I'm like ready to blow. And it's from Pema Chodron. Just like me, that person is doing the best they can. Just like me, everyone experiences frustration. Just like me, we're all trying to do the best and move on in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And that's a lovely little kind of catches you from, I don't know, for me, you know, I can be a little hothead, and it helps me slow down and not be so righteous, get off my little.
It helped me too. When I first read that book, she actually has a book called Just Like Me.
Oh,
and
I didn't read that one.
If you read and listen to her lectures, Just Like Me, you're like, yeah. And I think one of the things that I heard the most was like, you know, when like someone like yells at you on a phone. Speaking of that, Carla, I think she was talking about, I don't remember what she was talking about, but I remember it being a phone conversation or something. And she was like, just like me, this person is just frustrated with the software, frustrated with the system. Yeah. And so just like me. And when you start thinking that way, it gives you a completely different perspective, and it tends to slow you down, and you can be like, just like me. And you know what? When you guys ask me questions, I think to myself, and I don't even think of it consciously anymore because I'm so used to thinking of it, is I'll go, if somebody comes and asks me a question, you guys are always like, oh, I'm sorry for asking you questions. And I'm like, it's fine. You can message me and ask me questions. And you guys ask me a question, and I'm like, just like me, they're just curious, just like I was 20 years ago, just like I was 30 years ago. When I first started on my path, I didn't have anyone to ask. And I want to be I want to be what I didn't have for other people. And so that's what I'm trying to be.
You're a good person.
So that's what I always say. So just like me, they're just curious. And I'm not upset or anything, because I'm always thinking that people that I've had that experience. Yeah. But that's also a Libra moon trait. Libra moons tend to see other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we wish you a great week. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.